interaction between everybody. As everybody's getting settled in, I'm going to go ahead and move this along. So I want to welcome you to the Hidden Wild, an eco-film designed to inspire outdoor exploration and education. I want to thank you all for spending your time with us. My name is Linda Smith. I'm your Executive Committee Chair. Mary Cassell is your Executive Committee Co-Chair, and she is on the Zoom call today, monitoring the chat, letting everybody in, keeping us up all on time and on schedule. So thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
This is...
Oh, I was going to say I'm the vice chair by title.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
I only want you to be co-chair. No.
I wish I
Okay.
could.
Slip of the tongue. So this is the agenda for tonight's meeting. We're going to go through some local information, and then we're going to break for a little question and answer, and then we're going to go right into the film presentation. Please put your comments in the chat or raise your hands, and if you've got any questions, please put them in the chat and Mary will answer them for you. Or we'll all answer them for you. You will have to remember to put your hand down if you've asked a question, or Mary may call on you again thinking you've got another question. So if you get your question answered, you have to be sure to lower your hand. And those are down at the bottom of your screen. If you hover at the bottom of the screen, you'll be able to see reactions. And that will have like thumbs up or yes or no or raise your hand.
Yeah. So
as discussed, it's Earth Week. We actually have Sierra Club is going to have 10 days of education and action. So if you want to text Earth Day to 69866, you should be getting text updates on our Earth Week of Action to ensure you don't miss any of our events. This is our Sierra Club mission statement. It is to explore, enjoy, and protect the wild places of Earth, to practice and promote the responsible use of the Earth's ecosystems and resources, to educate and enlist humanity to protect and restore the quality of the natural and human environment, and use all lawful means to carry out these actions. Our Loxahatchee leaders are a great fun group, and this is a listing of them all, and I think it's important for all of us to recognize and thank our leaders for the work that they do for us all. If you see anything in any of the committees or anything that you might be interested in volunteering with, feel free to reach out to any of the chairs. They would be greatly appreciative of any additional help. So the Conservation Committee is obviously one of the most important committees that we have here at the Sierra Club. And we had a great win at Wellington Green this past month. We were able to stop a developer from developing a wetland. And we also had over 600 people calling in during the April 14th Oceans Lobby Day. So that's great successes for our Conservation Committee. But there is more work to be done. And this is just a short list of the activities that we are working on. It includes preservation of tree canopies. There are a number of issues going on at Palm Beach County Agricultural Reserve. We're working on reviewing a St. Lucie County State Park. We're also working to stop and reduce single-use plastic. And Sierra Club also has the 30 by 30 campaign, which is calling for our nation to preserve 30% of the land and water mass of our nation by 2030. So that's a big goal. We're also writing letters to the editor. We're writing letters to representatives and county commissioners, and we're working to stop MCORs. And I believe that's being voted on, or may have just been voted on at the up in Tallahassee. So we'll see how that goes. I believe 2 of the roadways have been cut. There may still be 1. Membership, obviously Sierra Club would be nothing without our members. And I want to thank you for joining and also for renewing your membership. We periodically recognize members for the work they do. If you have any suggestions for someone that we can highlight or spotlight, please let me know for the next month's meetings. This month, we are recognizing Valerie Sebring. She has a love of nature that has started at a very young age, growing up in Mississippi. She swam in dirty ponds and lakes and spent hours walking through the woods and just fell in love with all kinds of critters. She has a Bachelor of Fine Arts and an emphasis on graphic design. She has lived in South Florida for over 20 years, and she has had a wide range of experience in all media, including marketing for small businesses and editorial and advertising design for local newspapers and luxury magazines. She's relatively new to the Sierra Club. She joined about 3 years ago, and she became a volunteer for ICO, the Inspiring Connections Outdoors. She has 2 teenage boys who do not share her love of nature, but she really hopes they will in the future. She really enjoys going out with kids during the ICO, Inspiring Connections Outdoors events. And I'm sure her teenage boys will come around. Now, why she's being highlighted is because she has been the editor for our Loxahatchee group website, and she has reorganized it and made it more user-friendly. And I want to make sure everyone knows that at the bottom of the homepage is a list of local events, and we currently have 4 upcoming local events for the Loxahatchee group. You can, in fact, also see meetings for Broward and also for Miami. So if you just want to pop in on a couple of meetings, you can click on there and you can be getting all in the know. Our newsletter, hopefully everybody is getting that. It is in a bit of a transition period. It is going to be more modern. It's going to have a more modern format. Articles may be a little shorter, but they're going to include more interactive links. So you'll be able to expand your knowledge on certain topics that you might find interesting on the turtle tracks. So new members or people that aren't even members can go to our website and sign up for the turtle tracks to keep up to date. If you have something you want to say about the environment, just let Sandy Schwartz know. She's the editor. We have a deadline for submission of the 20th of the month, so she has an opportunity to get it together. And it's going to be going out about the 1st of the month every month. Now, you might not believe this, but I had this slide on for last month's meeting, but I took it out because I was afraid the meeting was getting too long. And then the Piney Point containment breach that we've all been hearing so much about in the news, where the dike let loose and all the nutrients are going into the Tampa Bay happened. So I'm encouraging everyone to sign the petition, and I'm probably going to mispronounce it, but the phosphogypsumfreeamerica.org, and you can sign the petition, and maybe we can try to clean up some of these terrible toxic sites. By now, we've probably seen this, but some people may not have been at the last meeting. We also have more petitions. We're trying to petition to save our islands in the Bahamas. They're actually doing some test drilling very close to our coast. The Bahamas are just over there. The actual test site is a little more than 90 miles, but it's just too close for comfort. And we are also continuing the single-use plastic campaign to ask Publix to stop using single-use plastic bags at checkout. That said, I shopped at Publix today, took in my reusable bags, and they offered me a plastic magnet. I kind of thought they were missing the point, but they're trying, they don't even know what they're doing, I guess. They're trying to become good stewards if they can. If you have any more spare time, we have a few other things this month coming up. There's a virtual movie, Current Revolution, A Nation in Transit. And there's also going to be a book signing. If you feel comfortable going out and actually attending something, it's the book signing of Moving to Higher Ground. It's a very interesting book that is actually a little bit positive. It might be hard to believe, but you know, there are things we can be doing, and this would be a good place to get some more information on trying to reduce our climate change. And I mentioned earlier about the 4 events going on for the Loxahatchee group. Here is a listing. We have an Equity, Inclusion, and Justice Committee meeting coming up. These are all Zoom meetings, so you can go to our website and get the Zoom link and feel free to attend. We also have a Communications Committee meeting coming up, a Political Committee meeting, and a Conservation meeting. So if any of those things pique your interest, please go to our website, get the Zoom link, and become involved. Now, our last is to try to mark your calendar for Thursday, May 27th, where we're going to have butterflies and birds in your yard. It's going to be a great presentation by Diane Goldberg. She is a master gardener and with the University of Florida. So please mark your calendars. It will also be in our turtle tracks, and it will be on our website soon after this meeting. Glenn Loffer and Sheila Calderon were instrumental in creating tonight's program. So I have spoken long enough, and so I'm going to ask Glenn to please take yourself off of mute and introduce tonight's speaker.
Hi, everybody. How you doing? Today we have a speaker. Her name is Samantha Corr. She's worked in the environmental field for 23 years. She began her career as a regulator in environmental and institutional health programs for Florida Department of Health in 1998. In 2001, she began working for Palm Beach County in permitting and regulations department in environmental petroleum storage. And then in 2004, she became an environmental analyst for land development. And in 2008, she transitioned to public outreach, where she works in reaching youngsters to connect them with the great outdoors. And we have a great presentation tonight. We're looking to get everybody involved in outdoor activities, camping for the adults and for the kids as we progress through the. Hopefully everybody will come back and get everybody involved in the outings once they release all the COVID restrictions, and we can do some camping, hiking, all kinds of great outdoor activities for the young and the adults. So everybody should look for their internal tracks and get involved as time progresses. You can view this video and film at hiddenwildfilm.com at any time if you stream, so you can see it at your leisure and enjoy it. Every time I see the show, I see different things. So it really is a great learning and educational experience, and it's a lot of fun. Gets people involved. And now I'm going to transfer over to Samantha Corr to give the presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Glenn. I hope everyone can hear me. My name is Sam, and I work for Palm Beach County the film that I want to show you all is really something that I have, it's probably one of the highlights of my career so far, and I probably say that a lot, but this really, really, really has been quite an extraordinary thing to be involved with. But I want to tell you a little bit about how it got started. So we didn't just say, let's do a film. We had a purpose for the film. Back in 2010, Palm Beach County partnered with the Palm Beach Post and the school district, and we created a newspaper that talked all about the Lake Worth Lagoon, which is Palm Beach County's largest estuary. And this was a wonderful publication that had curriculum and implemented with it, and it was distributed to all of, I believe it was maybe 6th and 8th graders in Palm Beach County. And it was a great resource. Teachers used it for enrichment purposes. And so it was really something brand new, never had really dabbled into local education and bringing in a local environmental issue to our school kids here. And over the years, we continued to partner with the Post, and we printed these thousands and thousands of copies. Unfortunately, things were kind of rough at the Post, and we weren't allowed to really do a whole lot of updating to it. And over the course of those, 10 plus years, it kind of became a little stagnant, a little outdated. Technology is just off the charts now. Obviously, we're all talking via internet service and stuff. So we got a call from some teachers that really, really wanted the publication, and we hadn't been reprinting it. So we realized we needed to do something different. We needed a different format. So instead of a piece of paper that the kids went home with, does it ever leave their backpack? Who knows? We never really could find a lot of information back. And that's just because it wasn't a dedicated required learning tool that the teachers had to implement. It was enrichment. It was like, this is great. If you have extra time in between all the testing requirements and everything else, here's some information on your local environment. So back in 2019, we started thinking about doing some type of a video to talk about Lake Worth Lagoon, where the kids could watch it in the classroom and they could get inspired. And the teachers would also be kind of given some introductory, interesting topics to start teaching, whether it's food webs, local environmental issues with runoff, stormwater runoff, things of that nature. And what it turned into was a wonderful expedition of four people, three teenagers, local teenagers in public schools here in Palm Beach County, led by a well-established educational environmentalist, very well versed in Florida ecosystems. And it's about their travels through all of the connected lands here in our area. And these are areas that are open to the public for hiking, and some places you can, do some cycling and paddling. And there are some places where you can camp. And so they basically spent 7 days out in the wilderness traveling. And they traveled and saw the watershed of the Lake Worth Lagoon and the estuaries in our area. So they could see how the land and the water were all connected and kind of get an appreciation for that. So thank goodness, pre-COVID, we were able to get the filming all done. We had like a week after we stopped filming when COVID blew up here. And so we are so fortunate that we were able to get the filming done, because if we hadn't, this would not happen. There's no way that the county would allow us to have, this tight of a group going through 7 days and 70 miles in close proximity. It just wouldn't happen. So we hired a film company, and they did a wonderful job. The cinema photography is outstanding. I highly recommend that if you get a chance to watch it again, you do so on a bigger screen, because it really is magnificent. I don't know if when it comes through to your side, when I share my screen, if it's going to do it justice. I think it will, but just know that you can watch it again and again. And like Glenn said, you're always going to see something a little different. So we released the film this year in 2021. And currently we're working with a team of teachers that write curriculum for Palm Beach County School District. And they are writing curriculum that will match this film and in 7th and 10th grade for environmental studies. So every 7th and 10th grader will watch this this film. It's going to be broken up into 3 different sections. It'll be a little different for the school kids because it's got to match the Florida Sunshine State standards and all the curriculum requirements. But basically, this will kind of give them, hopefully this will inspire them to get outside and see this. The kids in the movie are eco-novices. We specifically did not want to get, Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts that can, survive or at least had been camping before. We wanted kids that anyone could relate to, and the kids in our schools that they could relate to. Not every kid gets outside camping. Not every kid gets to go slogging through the swamp. So we wanted them to see, those real expressions and those interactions and those moments where, oh my gosh, I'm walking in water. So I think that'll come through. And the teachers, they're writing the curriculum. We've been working with them. So it's a great film. I think it's time for me just to show it because it'll show you just how wonderful all of our lands here are and our waterways. It is streamable on the Hidden Wild. I'm going to share my screen now, and hopefully this goes right. So I'm going to, this was my introductory, and this is just a little bit about my department, Environmental Resources Management. Our mission is to preserve, protect, and enhance land and water resources here. And we do so through several different programs. Our Natural Areas Program, where we have over 30,000 acres of preserved, protected lands that are environmentally sensitive. We do that through our Lake Worth Lagoon programming, where we do restoration projects and we do monitoring in the lagoon. We also have our Yago Wildways, which is a wonderful system of multi-use trails that connect large lands together and really kind of makes it almost like its own huge, massive place to explore by connecting all these separate lands, from Jonathan Dickinson State Park up in Hope Sound, south into our Loxahatchee Slough natural area, out west into the Corbett and Dupuy areas as well. And also, finally, our Palm Beach County, we have an extensive artificial reef program where we deploy and try to enhance our marine and coral areas so that all of the fishing and all of the recreational scuba diving that takes place can kind of get dissipated out into other areas away from our natural reefs. So that's just a little bit about my department, but the real thing is the Hidden Wild film. If you go to that website, hiddenwildfilm.com, there's an embedded screen here, which you see now, and I'm going to click the link. And fingers crossed.
Samantha, there you go.
Generation Floridian.
Perfect.
As a kid, I spent a lot of time in Florida's wildlands. But even during my lifetime, many of these areas have changed or disappeared, and often kids don't even know they exist. For our wildlands to survive, the next generation of Floridians needs to know about them, love them, and protect them. That's why I'm taking 3 high school students on an expedition through the wildest places in Palm Beach County on Florida's southeast coast. 70 miles in 7 days, hiking, biking, and kayaking from the headwaters of the Loxahatchee River to the Atlantic Ocean. The most amazing thing about this expedition is that these are public lands. They're ours, and young people are going to decide what happens to them. I'm not sure how these students will feel about the wilderness we see this week, but I'm hoping they'll fall in love, just like I did. I was a little nervous starting the day. We had been planning this expedition for months, but this was my first time actually meeting the students.
The main thing that made me want to apply is that I heard it could go on my resume.
I've never camped in my life before. I thought it would be a great opportunity to go out in the wild and learn and explore new things.
I did love the challenge of it. Freshman year, I was about 300 pounds. I didn't like people having low expectations. I wanted to apply because it was like a checkup for me to see how I was doing.
Physically, this was going to be the toughest day of the expedition. We started at 5:30 a.m. with a 4-mile hike through gorgeous flatwoods. After the hike, we met up with our bikes and saddled up for 16 more miles on gravel roads. Oh my gosh, he's so pretty! You guys! Look at him! He will not bite you, I'm holding his head. My favorite part of the day was absolutely the snake. They are such beautiful, incredibly interesting animals. It was really cool to share that with the students.
Oh man.
All right, so you can
Should I grab
look at his head first. Yeah, so, yeah, and you can just gentle pinch.
Never held a snake before in my life. I've like touched one once before, and that was it. I think that was just a step of, you know, doing something a little out of my comfort zone.
Look at you, perfect. Yeah. He's good, he's just adjusting his mouth.
So that was pretty awesome, and I plan to try some other new things too during this trip.
And you think snakes are rough, right? The one I picked up was soft. Like, touch some silk if you have some on you right now, like your do-rag. It felt like that. A snake felt like that. That's wild.
Towards the end of the day, we met up with Stephanie, a wildlife rehabilitator who works with local birds. Stephanie brought a guest with her, a beautiful black-crowned night heron.
This guy came to us suffering from botulism toxin.
Oh no!
Somebody wants to help me grab him out of here. This guy specifically was found on the side of a pond, laying there. He came into the facility, he got fluids, he got pain medications, antibiotics, and within 3-4 weeks, he's popped back up now and he's ready to go.
That's great. All those birds that are in that cypress dome over there, those are all cypress trees, and they have formed this big bunch of cypress trees that we call a dome, and that's where birds like to go in the evenings and roost. And roosting just means hanging out, chilling with your friends, sleeping. Yeah, like it's like a social and like a rest thing. There's safety in numbers too, so think about like
Those birds were not just sitting there. They took like 5 packs of Uno from Walmart and just started playing.
Cortez is a firecracker, and having him on this journey has just brought a smile to my face at every turn.
Honestly, I'm very confident. I think I'm gonna keep my own pace, not really mess up.
I really like the other expeditioners. They're really nice, caring, and compassionate, and they're always there to help me.
I'm feeling great about the rest of the trip. 6 more days. I think we all got it. It was a great first day, and I think it's gonna be an amazing 7.
Hi! Thank you so much for meeting us.
Very nice to meet you.
This is the gang.
My name is Mark Cook. I am an avian ecologist for the South Florida Water Management District. I've set some traps up last night, so hopefully we'll catch some different kind of critters. And if we're lucky, one of these giant salamanders, an amphuma or a siren. Yeah. Be prepared. It's actually quite wet out there. We've had a lot of rain, especially in the northern part of the county. Over the last few months. So it's going to be a sort of a wet slog out there.
Walking through a Florida swamp is like walking back in time. Ferns and cypress trees and bright pink lichen and sawgrass. It's quiet, but at the same time, so packed full of life, you couldn't possibly see it all. Mark's job is to keep track of the creatures that live in this ecosystem and study how they interact.
When we went to the swamp, I was very interested because I've never seen that type of environment in my life before, and I did not expect it to be in Florida.
Kiana at first was a little quiet. I think she maybe was probably the one who'd spent the least time in the outdoors.
I've had a okay relationship with nature. Like, I enjoyed keeping the world safe and clean. I had a rough relationship with certain things like beetles and roaches.
Honestly, she has impressed me so much. There's been a lot of challenges, and she has just steadfastly pushed through all of them.
All right, so guys, let's go and have a look at some of these traps and see what we've got. Maybe if one of you could just hold that steady, and then I'm going to grab the trap. Oh, you got some stuff in there. You've got the jackpot. All right. This is the giant salamanders I was talking about. This is called a two-toed amphibia, and we know that because it's got very small legs. These are really secretive. We only really find them in traps. Yeah, you can touch it. Just try touching the rear end of it. Yeah. I mean, no one really even gets to see these things. They're incredibly, I can't pick it up very well. They're incredibly slimy.
The two-toed amphibia is an amphibian. Its eyes are almost useless. They really feel around with sensory organs on the front of their face, little sensory pits.
Yeah, it was fun going out with Mark, seeing the amphibia. He had to put out bait, and then all the fish and the beetles got into it. One would have like 5, 6 fish, and then another one would just have 20 chilling in there.
Unless we had put these traps out, we never would have seen.
Most people don't even know these things exist.
You can touch the back of its tail. All these small fish and invertebrates eat even smaller creatures in the marsh. Then they become food for birds like the black-crowned night heron we saw last night.
They can live for many, many years. I think 15 years or something. Yeah. They're super slippery.
Nothing is cooler than a cryptic swamp critter. Getting to share that with the students, I think that will remain for me one of the top highlights of the trip.
Tonight I'm feeling great. I'm feeling very focused, very excited. I've already learned a lot of new stuff. My brain's full, keeping it full. Just how I like it.
I think I was more excited about paddling down the Loxahatchee than anything else on the trip. I love the swamp, and from everything I'd heard, this was going to be one of those places that feels absolutely prehistoric.
I was kind of nervous about kayaking because I never went kayaking before.
It was a day full of teamwork. We had to portage, which means pick up or carry our kayaks over downed trees and down logs and over 2 different dams.
Yeah, that was a struggle, but it was really fun and it was a great experience.
Without teamwork, this wild and scenic river would look completely different. Dozens of organizations have come together to preserve this place. It's a beautiful example of what can happen when people care enough and step up and protect wild spaces.
Yeah, I did like the feeling of it being in the river, being with those alligators. It's a little Jurassic Parky out there. You think a dinosaur might get you, you know?
People love to create barriers and divide the world into little categories, but that's not how nature works. In Florida, water ties everything together. If you follow the water long enough, you'll see it for yourself.
I did not know we had this many wild ecosystems. Today we kayaked for 3 miles and we watched all the plants change from like freshwater trees to like these mangroves, and we watched that gradient.
As you paddle down the river, the cypress trees thin out, and the last ones you see are just skeletons in the salt water. As we divert more fresh water for drinking and irrigation, the saltwater boundary pushes further upstream. One of the rarest environments we saw was Florida scrub, which depends on fire for its existence.
We do prescribed fire in the park and in other natural areas to mimic the role that natural lightning fire has. It's much safer for us to control the conditions versus having a lightning strike, a wildfire. This isn't a demonstration. This is a real fire. It's windy. You know, anything can happen. You guys ready to see some prescribed fire? See what it looks like?
I would never really think of being a burner. I thought of being a firefighter at once, but not someone who would start a fire.
See a really big one over there.
You guys out of the smoke?
I am a little bit of pyromaniac myself. Seeing fire is a cool thing, and seeing it in such quantity, scale, and so controlled instead of just lighting it and walking away is super cool. I would pay to see that be done or want to work that job for a little bit.
So this is a drip torch. This is what they use to light the fire. So that's the idea. And then you can light your drip torch. And now you can pour fire, basically.
Whoa, you can easily control it, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
Holy crow, bro. Have you seen this prescribed burn? Seeing that was awesome.
It was wild watching the palmettos just burst into flames, knowing that even as the fire was consuming these plants, that it was actually bringing life back to the scrub.
I already knew that. That was an ecosystem that existed that was meant to burn. I learned about that in class, but actually seeing it, learning about the palmettos that secrete wax that makes it more flammable, I'll never forget now. It's cemented.
One of the big reasons why they burn the scrub in Jonathan Dickinson is to maintain habitat for an endemic, incredibly special bird species, the Florida scrub jay.
All right. First Florida scrub jay.
Oh, that's literally the first scrub I've ever seen. I'm dying. They just come right up.
Yeah.
Like, they don't even care.
And you know how most birds, they'd be okay with you watching from a distance? Scrub jays, they'll walk up 2-3 feet away from you and wonder what you are doing. They are curious, which makes me think they're the scientists of the bird kingdom.
We ended up finding 6 scrub jays. It was a little family and they're very friendly and they came up to us and it was so much fun.
When it comes to burns, like y'all just came from, like one of the post products will be these big snags. And so that's like really important for sentinels.
If the scrub doesn't burn, it gets so dense that the jays can't see their predators. And a lot of plants out here depend on fire for their seeds to germinate. For this ecosystem, fire isn't a natural disaster. It's a life force.
I feel like the students are gaining confidence every day in this trip. I see them being willing to ask questions, strike out on their own.
So before, I was actually worried I wouldn't be able to keep up, you know? I still have that big boy anxiety.
I got to learn so many new things today. It was so much fun and I feel way more confident than I did in the beginning of the expedition for sure.
being out here has just made me so very happy. Everything's so exciting and amazing. It doesn't even come to mind whether I can do something or whether I can't. You know, you just do it.
Truly, the place that surprised me the most was coming out of the wild and scenic Loxahatchee into that crystal clear blue water. I have never seen water that blue in Florida.
The manatee would be my favorite animal so far because they are a literal sea potato, and if you blink they would be like right in front of you and then they would just zoom across. I was astonished at how speedy they were going.
I've never been that close. I sat like in the water and one came up to me. If I reached out my hand, I could have touched it. Looked me right in the eye. Just felt connected, you know, and I also felt like I felt bad. I saw the scars of the motor blades. That's the first thing I noticed.
That afternoon, we had a chance to paddleboard in the estuary, where freshwater and saltwater worlds collide. As we moved along the developed coast, we reflected on what we'd seen, hiking, biking, and floating down Florida's waterways.
After being on this trip, I really got a better understanding of how everything works and how everything in the environment is connected. If you get rid of one species of animal, it's gonna affect all the other animals and the ecosystem.
We literally saw things getting destroyed by development already. A lot of people don't see that perspective.
Walk in there and stay in there for 5 days and you're gonna come out a new person, you know. Be like, hey, don't cut that tree down. Everything has a function and purpose everywhere, no matter what it is.
At the end of the day, we climbed the historic Jupiter Inlet Lighthouse, which has guided ships along the Florida coast since 1860. From the top, we had a clear view all the way to the ocean. We could finally see our goal, but we could also look back to where our journey began, far past the treetops in the distance. Traveling these wild waterways under your own power makes you feel like you're part of something bigger. But we certainly weren't the first people to understand the connections in this landscape.
You guys are now at the end of the Loxahatchee River. You have traveled the same routes that the Native Americans have traveled probably for the last 12,000 years. You started in the Everglades, you came up into the Loxahatchee Slough, and then now you're at the mouth of the Loxahatchee River. You've gone by thousands and thousands of years of history. So we are on top of the Shell Mound at Du Bois Park. This whole site is about 6,000 years old.
Would they stand up on the hill to see if there's like intruders?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you don't spend...
After experiencing the biology of this ecosystem for the last 5 days, learning about the human history makes this place seem even more special.
People don't realize how deep our history is with sites like this.
Listening to Chris, I wondered how the native people who first traveled these waterways would feel about the ways we've transformed the landscape. They stewarded this place for thousands of years, but it took us less than a century to change it completely. So little is left that they would recognize, and so few of us care about it. It put our whole trip in perspective. By day 6, we were in the home stretch. After 5 days in the wilderness, we arrived in urban Palm Beach County and rode our bikes down US 1 to Lake Worth Lagoon.
It was such an amazing feeling to get off of our bikes and walk through MacArthur Beach and see the ocean.
The Palm Beaches are incredibly fortunate to have this gorgeous wild estuary right next to their urban center.
After traveling around 60 miles and finally reaching the ocean, it's like we finally reached like a goal.
All we have left to do is paddle 4 miles tomorrow. 4 miles, and we're done.
I can't believe that we ended up here. I never thought I could do something like that.
I'm gonna be like, yeah, I did this, this, and this. And then they're gonna be like, whoa, that's crazy. And I'm gonna be like, I know. Just the average life of me, Cortez. Ain't nothing much. Ain't too nice. Oh, ain't nothing much.
I proved myself wrong, so this just goes to show me that I can do anything that I put my mind to.
I'm kind of sad that it's ending tomorrow. I'm gonna miss this, yo.
Young people in Florida are inheriting this wilderness. These public lands have been set aside specifically for them to explore and enjoy, and they're going to decide what happens to them.
It's crazy that this is literally in my own backyard, and I have never been educated on things like this.
I've learned stuff out here that a whole year of school wouldn't teach me, Go outside of your comfort zone and see what's out there. Go look literally in your backyard. A lot of people see Florida as the beach, but it's way more. When you march your way through and you have open eyes and you're watching the things change, you're like, oh, this swamp affects the scrub, and this scrub affects the Loxahatchee River. This Loxahatchee River affects the inlet, and this inlet affects the ocean. We still need these ecosystems. We can't just live, in our concrete buildings and think everything's okay and just get Gatorade shipped to our house. Like, it doesn't just work like that,
When the expedition is over, I would definitely go back to certain places. For example, the Loxahatchee Slough. When I was there, I was thinking about how my best friend Jenna would like it there. So I would definitely go down there with her and take Instagram pictures and go camping with my mom.
I would definitely tell my friends, did you know by this road that you drive by every day, there's literally thousands of birds and everything just chilling in that area? And they'd be like, no, I didn't even know that either. I thought it would just be, a river.
I've almost already started making plans for next weekend to come back with some friends or my family.
Being able to come back to these wild areas isn't something we can take for granted. Only a fragment of wilderness is left, and the ecosystems that remain depend on each other to stay healthy. It's one thing to hear about the wilderness from a science educator like me, but nothing makes you care more about wild spaces than seeing them for yourself. Sharing these wild areas with Noah, Cortez, and Kiana has been a dream come true. And if their classmates care as much about the wilderness as they do, that gives me hope for Florida's future.
Okay, so I'm going to show you guys a picture now of, let's see if I can toggle over here. Okay, come on now. There it is. So I wanted to share with you a picture of the entire expedition crew that included the filmmakers, also the logistics team, which I was a part of. So this expedition was supported. They didn't have to pack in and pack out all their gear. That would have been incredibly difficult. So every day gear was picked up from their campsite, and along the way, items were delivered as they needed them, such as bicycles once they reached a certain portion on their journey. So the top picture is day 1 and the bottom picture is day 7. So all souls were accounted for. Hopefully this film inspires some of you to check out some of our local areas here yourselves. They did camp in some areas that are not open to the public for camping, but obviously Jonathan Dickinson State Park, there's camping there. And in our Loxahatchee Slough Natural area, there is some primitive camping by permit only. So those are several places here locally that camping is allowed. So I want to thank you again. Saying Happy Earth Day to everyone. And if there's any comments or questions, I can take them now.
Thank you, Sam. That was a great presentation. I see a lot of different comments in the chat. Everybody seems to have really enjoyed the whole experience. If anyone would like to say something, they could try raising their hand and we'll see if technology lets us unmute you.
I just want to thank everybody for their participation, and for Samantha for doing a great job, and for Sheila for giving me the idea and moving me forward on this. I just want to thank everybody. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I do hope, this is Linda again, and I hope everybody has a great Earth Week and gets out there. I'm going to stay on if anyone wants to talk about Sierra Club or anything else. Does anyone have any questions for Sam before she leaves?
Okay, I do. This is Mary. And Sam, tell us again the dates of when this trip was taking place for the week.
So this expedition, it was in February of 2020, and it was from February 7th through the 14th. We ended on Valentine's Day.
Perfect. Neat. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Do you plan to do it again in the future?
Nothing of this caliber with the amount of equipment and support. No, we have done some smaller hikes with folks. Obviously, nothing that's an overnight. Maybe like a 2-3 hour hike guided in some of our properties, like in the Loxahatchee Slough Natural area. We have a program called Adventure Awaits that we come out with. It's every quarter. The schedule comes out. Obviously, COVID put a big damper on that. Our numbers were very limited. Well, at first we didn't do it at all. We stopped it. And we're starting to slowly kind of come back with approval from our county risk management to incorporate these hikes. So stay tuned for that.
You guys gonna have any like diving programs for the reefs or snorkeling for the reefs or anything like that?
Like guided, we've talked about that a lot. We've talked about that. There's some legal issues that we have to work out just because we're a government entity. And water always makes, risk management and attorneys very nervous. But that has definitely been talked about. But right now we don't have anything set for that. No.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
I'm curious whether you've been in touch with
I just want to say to you how fantastic this whole program was, but more than that, as you know, I think you're a very special person, and we have been very, very blessed. And I saw Meryl started to say something, and I interrupted. I'm sorry. Meryl is our chair now of the ICO, but from my time and my communication with you, you have always, always run fantastic trips for our children that we serve, and the feedback has always been good. And for that, we thank you. We thank and I know, okay, but I'll let Meryl say it. We certainly are going to be looking forward to hit on you again for sure.
Oh, I'm ready.
They were supposed to lead something in March, right when we shut down. They were leading about to lead one of our kids. I wonder if you have spoken to any of the 3 kids since the filming. Since then,
we've been in touch. So we've actually been out. Noah, the oldest, he actually accompanied us. We actually have taken the curriculum teachers on the expedition after the fact. Now they don't sleep overnight. They get to go home to their homes, but we've basically taken them on the same exact trip so that as they're writing curriculum, they understand exactly what the kids went through. And I got to tell you, we've had the worst weather with the teachers. When the kids went, they had beautiful weather. It didn't rain. We were kind of hoping that they would have some hardships to go through to deal with elements and stuff. And they had great weather. But as we've been taking the teachers out, it's been freezing cold rain or really, really hot days. I mean, we did the kayaking in Lake Worth Lagoon when the wind was whipping and the water was so choppy. I didn't think I was going to make it. So the teachers have really gotten the short end of the stick on that one. But Noah actually came with us. And so he was able to meet with the teachers. And I think that's kind of good too, for them to kind of get a firsthand account from one of the students. And then we have been in contact with the others. Yes, we keep in touch.
Kimberly, do you have a hand up?
You. Yes, I just wanted to ask about any further opportunities to view this again, because I missed the very beginning of it. So I was really hoping there might be a posting of it that would be available, or another showing somehow.
Yes, you can watch it right after this meeting. The film is streaming online, so anybody can watch it at any time, and I highly encourage you to watch it again, especially if you have a bigger screen TV, because the cinema photography will be much better. The soundtrack will come through better, and you can actually access the film at the website. It's basically just hiddenwildfilm.com, and I can share my screen with that website if you'd like.
Sure.
Okay, let's see here.
I have a question, if I could ask.
Sure.
Hi, this is Drew Martin. I wanted to ask you, I'm on the phone, so I actually couldn't view the film, but what is the starting point? Was it the Loxahatchee Refuge, or where did you begin the trip?
Drew, actually, we began the trip out at Corbett Wildlife Management Area, right along the L8 Canal. And we traveled through Corbett and up into Loxahatchee Slough. We basically, we did follow the Ocean to Lake Trail where we could hike it. And then we took some of the Yaga Wildways on bike through Loxahatchee Slough up into Riverbend Park, where we accessed the Loxahatchee River. And then we took that up into Jonathan Dickinson State Park, where we then followed the park and the river out into Jupiter Inlet. And then we took the Lake Worth Creek waterway south into Lake Worth Lagoon.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I put up the slide that's got the film, the website address for the film, so you can watch it anytime.
Hi, this is Sheila again. I just wanted to add before we close that hopefully this has been an incentive for a number of you that are watching out there to join in either our Sierra Club outings for adults, for children. Just please feel free to contact Glenn or Merrill Davids. They will gladly give you whatever information you need to help you become a volunteer or a participant in our outings program. It would be very, very special. And you can be sure that through those programs, we'll be working with ERM to do some of their fantastic programs as well. So I just wanted to add that before we close.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Nope.
I'm looking to see if there's any other hands up or anything. Well, I want to thank everybody for spending an hour of their evening with us. I think it was very enjoyable, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. I'm going to stick around if anyone has any Sierra Club questions. And Mary, I think we could probably stop the recording.